When I was 3 years old, I went to live at Mama Bear's home for lost children. It was years before I really knew why. Nobody ever came there without a tragic backstory. When you're little, the scariest thing in the world is the existence of monsters, and without your family there to convince you they don't exist, you have to find ways to confront them alone. Or with whatever family you can find.
Baby doll. Baby doll. You awake? Yeah. Move over. Move over. That's not so bad.
You okay?
When Erin came to live with us, she was a broken girl. She was shy, reserved. She didn't really talk much. And everyone thought she was weird, so it took ages for anyone to get to know her.
What are you two doing up?
Erin was being attacked.
It was just a nightmare. Now come on you, back to bed.
But...
No buts, Alex. It's way past your bedtime.
I know, but...
What did I say?
We used to think she was all-seeing and all-knowing.
Are you going to be all right?
It took us ages to discover that Mama Bear was actually listening to the creaks in the floorboards to see if we were still awake. I guess you could say she was a good substitute for a real mother. Critical, but fair. And she did love us as if we were her own. That didn't stop us from acting up, though. If anything, it promoted our misbehaviour.
When I was young, the thing I wanted most, more than anything in the world, was a family. I quietly prayed for it at bedtime, wished for it when I blew out the candles on my cake every year. I even asked St. Nicholas in long-winded letters till I lost my Christmas spirit. But the thing I didn't realize at the time, though, was I already have a family. It just looked nothing like what you see in greeting cards or read about in children's books. I'm sure the mummy and daddy with the two happy kids and little dog all huddled by the fireplace type of family I'm sure that family exists. I'm sure it exists, but I got dealt the sister and me against the world card, so I played it with my best poker face.
Thank you, thank you, thank you! What were you dreaming about?
My dad.
How did he die?
He didn't. That's the problem.
Huh?
I'll tell you when you're older.
I would imagine being the new girl in any place would be tough, but growing up in a place like this and being the new girl, well, that would have been the worst. If you were quiet, reserved, even a little bit different in any way, you'd get picked on. It was like a pack of ravenous hyenas or mangy vultures zeroing in on a maimed animal. One particular girl called Chloe and her group of cronies would isolate you and torment you if you didn't fit in. And those girls would pick your bones clean with their scathing words and violent actions. But you know what? Chloe really didn't do anything. She was all talk. Instead, she stood back and taunted the newest member of her gang into doing it for her.
Look at her stupid glasses. They don't even have real lenses. They're just plastic.
What a poser.
For the most part, I stayed clear of it. I didn't want to be recruited. And really, they knew where I was in the hierarchy. But when Erin came, they singled her out.
No one even wants you here, so why don't you just do everyone else a favour and slit your wrist like your mother?
If I had to be your mum, I'd slit my wrist too.
Who would want you as a daughter?
What the hell are those marks on your arms? Is that some kind of skin barcode guy scam before they can screw you?
How many guys can you count now, ho?
Does your dad pimp you out, or does he keep you for himself?
How big is it?
I knew what was going on with the verbal and physical abuse. The girls would push each other, backstab each other. I had just put it down to being a teenage thing. I mean, I went through the same crap when I was at school. It happened in my generation and generation before mine.
You know, I'm kind of proud that I stood up for it because, you know, nothing means more to me. I may not have, in the true sense of what family is to most of the population, but Erin to me was more than family. In that kind of environment where, you know, the kids are just genuinely cruel and, you know, you feel like you don't fit in, I think, you know, that brought us absolutely closer together. You know, our bond was unbreakable because the most perfect thing between us was this element of trust that no matter what happens, we're going to be there for each other.
I couldn't wait to get out of there. It was this sense of freedom that you can't express in words. It was almost an urgency. At first, Erin was apprehensive about the idea because regardless of all the bullying, this was still sort of a safe haven for her. Somewhere she could keep it all locked up in a mental vault. Everything was wrapped up in a blanket of predictability, but she overcame her fears because, I don't know. On that road trip, I discovered a lot about myself. And I also discovered a lot about our friendship. You know, for me, it was an exercise in personal growth. I was just excited to find out who I was and where I fit into this big jigsaw of this crazy earth we live in. I wanted to experience anything and everything. Some of it I'm not particularly proud of, but there was no question of returning. Only I had to be ready, or I'd just find another way to escape again.
One morning, I went up to wake the girls, as I'd done for all their lives, and discovered that they were missing. They'd taken on the open road with my car. Oh, I could have reported it stolen, but what's the point? I didn't think they'd get very far. I was wrong.
There were times Erin would show these traits of being a bit tetchy or a little bit outspoken, right? And it would come at me with such surprise that she's like this beast caged up in this fury ball, waiting to unhinge, and I was speechless, and I'm really speechless. That's a talent. So I learned a couple of things about her on that road trip.
But the most beautiful thing was that she fell in love. She met somebody. And for me to be able to witness that for her, I think that was the pinnacle of what our friendship was. It wasn't long after that I felt like a third wheel and headed home. Erin stayed behind, with the promise that if anything should ever happen, we'd find each other again. They met on so many levels, and I think Frank's world matched her world so completely, so perfectly. I could see them being that old couple who've been married for 50, 60 years and still share so much love for each other. No matter how far apart they got, they'd find each other. Almost as if one was a homing beacon for the other. And the way she looked at him, I swear, the rest of the world just disappeared, ceased to exist. Erin didn't cope very well, particularly in the beginning when she found out what happened. She got into the shower and took some pills and rolled into a ball on the grimy cubicle floor. Water rained down over her, desperately trying to wash away the pain. And I rushed over as soon as I heard and barged my way in because she wasn't answering her calls. I was barely conscious when I got inside, just lying in the bottom of the shower in 3 millimeters of water. Drowning. So I got her out of the shower and I dressed her and put her to bed. Luckily she was talking to me, so I cuddled her the whole night. By then I was ready to move in with Martin, but I wouldn't have done it if I'd known how much it would have hurt Erin.
Apparently, if you look up interesting facts about you on the internet, you passed away earlier today. Is this true? I mean, because I must say, you're looking pretty good for a dead guy.
Oh, well, thanks. I feel pretty good, too.
Yeah? Did you know about this?
Yes, of course I did. I die all the time. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. You know, you jump off a building, you get hit by a bus, and then you come back to life a couple hours later, so, you know, no complaints.
No complaints.
Am I the only one who can do this?
I think you are. God. Well, I must ask, what was the cause of death, and where were you when you died?
Amazingly, it was murder-suicide.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I apparently caught my wife in bed with another man, so I blasted the both of them with a shotgun before tragically turning it on myself. Funnily enough, I'm not allowed to get a gun license, and I can't get married in the eyes of the law. So, you know, maybe the world knows something that I don't. You know, maybe it's protecting me by shunning me of my personal freedom. Although I am proudly narcissistic. So, you know, if I was even going to consider offing myself that way, I'd have to knock back a few first.
Right.
Can I say that?
Oh, you already have.
I just have to say, yeah.
Well, it sounds like many wonderful things have been happening to you since the last time we saw you.
Oh, yeah, many, many wonderful things.
Okay, well, tell us, Charles. What's next?
I'm toying with a documentary about life and death.
Intriguing.
Yeah. It's going to be shot in a real-life funeral home with interviews by real-life morticians, so yeah, it should be interesting.
Scary. I mean, that's probably why the internet thinks you're dead.
Oh, maybe, I don't know.
Oh my God. Well, what's it called? Does it have a title yet?
Not really, no.
No?
But I'm firing off ideas at my producers, and we've got a working title we all like, which is Cold Room.
Cold Room. Cold Room. Okay, well, I guess we're just gonna have to...
The first time Alex introduced me to Martin,
I had a few reservations about him. He had heavy bags under his eyes as if he hadn't slept for a month. And he was so stiff, like rigid. And he kept staring at the floor, or looking at the clock, or searching for an exit, like some kind of quick escape. And he didn't really add anything to the conversation either. When he did speak, it was in fractured sentences, and so quiet he might as well have been mumbling under his breath. I couldn't help thinking he was harboring some kind of dark, demented secret. Why he even existed was beyond me, honestly.
Martin is a creature of rules and repetition, of stability. Anything out of his ordinary, which is so far removed from what the average person considers normal, throws his controlled world completely out of whack. He gets used to a particular way of living, and he sticks by it.
Is Alex supportive of you being a... you know?
Don't get me wrong, I wanted her to move in. And if I was ever going to be serious about her or anyone, now was pretty much the perfect time to do it.
I should be downstairs right now, working on Mr. Wheeler, instead of talking to you. He's laying there, naked, ready for me to stuff him.
Stop! I don't need the minute details.
If I wasn't so scared, I would have been happy. Scratch that. I was happy, but I could have been happier, ecstatic. But I was terrified. I didn't want to lose her. I mean, you've seen her, right? Who wouldn't want to live with her? But I kept thinking to myself, well, what if something tears us apart?
I knew it would be a mountain to climb. A long and possibly treacherous mission for Alex to figure him out. And I voiced my opinion, but she's always been stubborn. And as much as I love her, her biggest fault is that she never listens. She creates elaborate solutions to problems that might not even exist, and then implements them. But she's also overly passionate, and has a fiery temper, and, well, she's all too curious sometimes.
I didn't know how serious Martin was when he forewarned me about certain areas of the house. I thought he'd be inside building a model or playing with a vintage train set. But no. What I found was unforgettable. It looked like Martin was making human corpses into life-size puppets. I honestly thought I walked in on some sadistic... You know what? I can't really even put into words what I thought.
All this money, make it stop!
Martin?
I still have the occasional nightmare of what I saw in that basement.
I'd love to keep sitting here picking your fascinating brain and taking down notes, but I have to be clear over town by 2 o'clock, or I'll miss my next appointment.
Hopefully it's not someone crazier than me.
Crazy, Martin. That's a matter of perception.
Don't leave me alone with him. He's fucking crazy! Help! Help! Help, please! Somebody help!
If I couldn't tell my shrink about what I do for a living without him looking like death, then how the hell can I tell my girlfriend? He went white. I've seen guys laid out on my table with more pigmentation.
Why are you doing this?
Any number of explanations could have been possible.
Because I'm paid to, and I thought I was doing a good job.
Why do I always end up with the freaks?
Tell me what to do, and I'll do it.
Maybe you should stop killing people?
I still have no idea why her mind went to the darkest place imaginable.
I mean, he's still alive. Jesus Christ.
Alex, listen. He is very much dead. Very much dead.
Then what the fuck is he doing in our house, Martin?
You know how I've been working from home recently?
So?
I'm a mortician.
I don't care what your star sign is, Martin.
Undertaker. I'm an undertaker. An undertaker's a mortician. A mortician's an undertaker. I make the dead bodies look good for the grieving family members.
What about the photos? And the video footage?
That's all reference images of what they looked like before. I outsource to local universities.
So you're not completely twisted?
Not completely. But it's not for everyone. I'm not a killer.
We all do stuff that's a little off. It's just unfortunate if we get caught doing it. But you know, that's why we talk these things through. I guess I'm just crying over spilled milk. It's not a big problem. I wish she gave me the benefit of the doubt instead of just thinking that I'm a knife-wielding whack job. The opportunity had never presented itself. It's not like I was purposefully keeping it from her. She would have found out eventually. She's not an idiot. I know that. But how to bring it up in a back and forth? Oh, by the way, I'm a mortician. Okay.
Hey, I was watching that.
No, you weren't.
What are you doing?
You won't let us go out to party. So I'm bringing the party to us.
As the months passed by, Erin spent more and more time drowning her sorrow in whatever she could get her hands on. She spent most of her waking life swimming in cheap liquor and breathing in toxic fumes. The girl I knew wasn't really who she was anymore. This shell, this counterfeit version seemed afraid of reality.
Sorry. What? Are you allergic to fun? Fuck.
No. Okay. What's up? Nothing.
Bullshit. Something's up.
Yeah. Well, there's the ceiling, the sky, clouds, God.
Very funny, smartass. Is he fucking somebody else?
No, no.
Well, then what? Ooh, that'd be Aunt Mary at the pizza.
You ordered pizza?
Weed, my dear girl. Astral tell. We're gonna get as high as God and planes and the fucking clouds.
I should get going.
No, don't go. Come stay at Hovercoon and talk to me.
Okay.
The moment she opened that door, she lost the last little bit of herself.
Hey, babe. Hey.
The rope snapped and I saw firsthand the beginning of her freefall plummet.
Who the fuck's this?
Trevor.
Who the fuck's Trevor?
He is. Ever since coming out of her shell, she does what she wants, she says what she wants, there's no filter, there's no self-censorship. I could never be like that even if I tried. And believe me, I've tried. Erin had this sort of thing where it was like a drinking game, and it had the same basic rules as cards. She'd either fold after a certain amount and sleep it off, or she'd see how far she could push it past breaking point and hopefully not go bust. The last thing I remember was her desperately trying to rope me into a threesome with a dealer's boyfriend. I wasn't into it at all. But the word boundary doesn't seem to exist in Erin's vocabulary. She can tell you the meaning of almost any word uttered by a man, but yeah, she has no sense of timing or personal space. So she'd be going for it, and I'm tossing back drink after drink while trying to avoid eye contact with Sharon. And we can both hear Trevor's groans coming from the next room. So I stupidly volunteer to check it out. Yeah, and this is where I learn way too much about Erin.
Sharon was nowhere to be found. I mean, she'd left most of her shit behind, so that got me thinking that she certainly wasn't in a good state of mind when she left. Probably because I accidentally fucked her boyfriend. This was going to be a hard one to explain and even harder to apologise for. But I got Trevor up, threw his clothes on him, tossed him out in the cold. I made an attempt to start cleaning, and I mean, all I could really think was, fuck.
And when I got home, Martin was worried sick. I could smell the pot on me, and he was not happy. We ended up staying for the next couple of hours arguing.
I spend every day waiting for you to actually notice me, to care about me, to come and ask me how my day was. But you don't. You don't. You spend all day down in that cell, that fucking room with those corpses, those hideous things, and I am up here.
I'm working. I'm making money so I can pay the rent and pay for food.
I work too, okay? I fucking work too. I managed to come home and I managed to ask you how your day's been. And I managed to acknowledge your existence, okay? You don't...
I talk back, don't I?
Yeah, you talk, but you don't listen. Nothing goes through. Okay, can't you see? I'm trying all the time to be the girlfriend you want.
What do you want?
What do I...
Yeah,
I want you to fucking care about me! I want you to love me. I want you to let me
I do care about
feel you and be with you.
Wait, are we communicating now?
Yeah. Are you hearing anything I'm saying? Are you seeing me?
What do you want?
Has anything sunk in? Ever? Do you actually care about
just talk to
anything?
me, or...
I'm not one of those dead corpses, okay? I need life. I need feeling. I need love in my life. And you don't do any of that.
When he'd had enough, he locked himself in his cold room and I went and slept in the car. I woke up with a throbbing headache and it hurt to move too fast. But I was more preoccupied by how I could face Martin after the night I'd had. Then I noticed the letter he wrote me. When I went upstairs to our bedroom, I found him in deep thought. Even before he knew I was there, all I wanted to do was kiss him. But I didn't know how he'd react. It was probably the single scariest moment of our relationship up to that point.
Hey, baby. It's been a long time. Come sit down here.
Isn't this an intervention?
Don't look at me like that. Why not? Because I'm trying to help you. We all are. Let go. Only if you join us. Could you be getting more cliche?
In retrospect, I should have suspected it was a trap. A goddamn intervention. Unfucking believable. It was completely out of character for Alex to throw a party. It'd be the same as, I don't know, a duckling eating a fully grown alligator. It just wouldn't happen.
With each passing moment, it was becoming increasingly clear that Erin was becoming more and more emotionally exhausted. We were trying everything to help her, but it was as if we were draining her, as if we were some kind of vampires. She wanted it to end. She needed it too, and and I would have loved to cut it off midstream, but she needed to know that we cared, even though she couldn't accept it. And when she finally snapped...
You're all a bunch of fucking losers! I mean, look at you! You can't get your wife off no matter how hard you try or what you take. You're a drug dealer.
Sam's self-loathing trailer trash. Dave's a Jew having a midlife crisis after a homosexual awakening. And Sarah sucks cock for money to pay for baby formula.
Excuse me? I raised you better than that.
Clearly not. You've been married more times than you can count on your little fingers, and always to completely fucking horrible bitches. What the hell do you think you're doing? These people are our friends. I love you, Mama Bear, but you're pretty much a crazy cat lady right now.
Well, you're a spoiled little brat.
Maybe. But at least I'm not sitting at home lamenting my life's choices.
Or maybe if you did, you might learn a thing or two. Life's not meant to be fun all the time. You're not going to find what you're looking for in the bottom of a bottle.
Well, you'd know better than any of us.
You threw away a career as a swimwear model to have 5 kids.
And a husband who takes holidays away from you because he can't stand what a heifer you've become.
Fuck you! You're totally infertile, and yet your wife is pregnant with twins. Golly gee, how does that happen, I wonder? Well, she has been spending an awful lot of time with your brother.
I swear I... Did you fuck my wife? Jesus, no! Did you? I would never! Ah! Tell me the truth!
Take it outside, you two. If anything else is being broken besides us.
Get out! Get!
Where are you going? To use the fucking bathroom. Or is there a customers only policy?
And you. I feel like I don't even know you anymore. You look like Alex. You sound like Alex. But you sure as fuck don't act like her.
Maybe she's tired of you dragging her down all the time. Did you ever think of that?
Where are you going? To use the fucking bathroom. Or is there a customers only policy?
After that, Erin and I didn't talk for months, but this time I knew she wasn't happy. And I wasn't happy knowing that she wasn't.
I didn't want to talk to her anymore. The damage was done. But every so often, I'd think about Alex. And all the shit we've been through. And she really was the only one who knew me.
Even though we were separate, she was still my big sister and my best friend.
I never realized I didn't like my own company. I didn't even want to tolerate myself most of the time. And the more time I spent alone, the more I was forced to focus and look introspectively. I'd become someone who used loving memories as a crutch, as a means to stop succeeding at life. And I hadn't thought about how the way I was acting would make those people feel about me. I did what I could to survive, but I was drowning. I reminded myself that I didn't know what to expect, but it did nothing to calm my nerves. Each knock echoed in my mind, warning me to retreat, but I was determined. Against my better judgment, I went in. I felt like I couldn't ask anybody for help. So I found myself getting paid to do unspeakable things for a man I would have normally crossed the street to avoid. Even accepting his dirty money made me sick. We spent countless hours joking and laughing about train wrecks and basket cases, and after he died, I succumbed to the temptation of playing that particular role. I played it so well that I even managed to convince myself it wasn't me. At least, till the morning I saw my reflection in the bathroom mirror. I hated who I was looking at. I had hit rock bottom. I'd crashed and burned. Frank wouldn't even talk to me if he knew this version of me. He wouldn't even look at me twice. I needed to go back to the beginning and sort my shit out. The only way I could claw my way out of this pit was to confront my demons and throw myself at the mercy of those I hurt. If I didn't better myself before apologizing, though, they'd see through the veneer.
Well, well, well. I didn't think I'd ever see you again.
Don't worry. I'm here.
Are you here to kill me?
I thought about it.
I'm sure you have. And judging by the scars on your wrists, I'd say you've thought about that quite a lot. I doubt anyone would even notice.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
I doubt they care.
I would.
If he so much as lays a finger on you, I'll snap his arm clean off.
You're not here to forgive me, are you?
Thought about that too. I don't know if I can. For her.
But that's you. My little Erin. My baby doll.
Is it?
Yes.
Liam, wake up. For fuck's sake. Dad? Daddy?
Liam's death stripped me of any real conclusions. I'd hoped for something. Anything more than this, but I got nothing. I got fucking nothing. And I never would, so I set about closing that chapter of my life by setting his house on fire instead of calling an ambulance. And for a while, I watched it burn, afraid that he'd somehow come crawling out and start tormenting me again. It wasn't until the sirens drew nearer that I actually took my exit. I caught a train into the city and a bus to Frank's grave. I frantically explained to his headstone my reasoning for doing something so fucking stupid, and all the while never quite shaking the image of Liam's rotting corpse from my mind. His death was supposed to put me at ease, but it felt like a cheat. It felt like it was his final way of getting what he wanted, and it put me in a checkmate.
childhood's hour, I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions. From a common spring, and the same source where I could not take my sorrow. I could not awaken my heart to joy in the same tone, and all I loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn from every depth of good and ill, the mystery which binds me still. From the torrent and the fountain, from the red cliffs of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled in its autumn tint of gold, from the thunder and the storm and the cloud that took the form when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon. In my view,
Then one day she did call. Something wasn't right though. There was a sort of pain in her voice, something she was obviously trying to hide. So
I woke up one morning and I could still see his face in his pillow. I'd been sleeping on it for months, but his grooves were still there. Even his scent lingered. It was a reminder that he wasn't coming back. And I started to think about his slowly growing smile and the glint in his eyes, the warmth in his whispering breath, and all the love in that gentle touch. It was the first time that my ring finger ever felt bare.
You know, I know I'm not supposed to be the one that you fall in love with. And I don't blame you. I don't take anything seriously.
It's not you.
I've heard that before.
No, it's not. I'd love nothing more than just to fall in love with you and live in a happily ever after. Real life just doesn't work like that.
Depends who you are. I brought you here because of the story of this place.
Yeah? How's it go?
Well, I'm not much of a romantic. But essentially...
The story was something of local legend. Something so powerful, so magical, it could hardly be believed. But the way Frank told it, it sounded beautiful, tragic and true. But it goes, a man and a woman who grew up in the same neighbourhood but never met, find each other in their adult years. They fall hopelessly and blissfully in love, but sometime later, the woman is sucked under the waves by the undertow. In his infinite grief, the man built a sandcastle in her memory. And it was such an immense construction that people talked about it and wrote about it. But the best part of the story was that, once built, the sandcastle acted as a beacon between worlds. It opened a doorway into the afterlife, so every year, for their anniversary, the man continued building castles in the sand and waited for his ladylove to venture out of the spirit realm to be with him. But then night would come, she'd disappear, and the waves would crash down over the castle, washing out into the ocean.
The day that Erin lost Frank in the accident was one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen. I've never seen someone so shattered.
Erin, she was died. She became someone else. Somebody who wasn't afraid to hide, but also somebody who was afraid to love.
She'd rather feel nothing than feel bad things. So in order to cope, she would numb out the pain by blocking it. I would support her as much as I could. I think for a short time, I think getting back up on the horse was maybe a good thing to distract her, but then it became about her letting herself being treated in a way that she had an excuse to hate herself. But after that, it was almost like she didn't want to blame the world or blame the universe for what happened. She wanted to fight in this world because it was eternally cruel to her, so she's going to fight back with a vengeance and get the best out of it that she could.
Sometime within the weeks where Erin and Alex weren't on speaking terms, I started spending time in the Rosebud Mortuary developing my in-depth documentary about Martin's work. Alex wasn't amused by cameras being positioned around the house, and it became somewhat of a mission to get the information we required to tell any sort of story, let alone the story we wanted to tell.
Out of boredom, I searched for Alex online, and I was a little disturbed by what I found. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as what she'd find if she looked for me. But I had no idea a documentary was being made about her or Martin. She never mentioned anything.
You treat me like the bad guy. I'm the villain. Well, I'm done. I'm done playing this game. No more fake smiles. No more wearing masks.
If I'd ever attempted to plant cameras around that house, I would have been caught for sure. But Martin already had a team doing all the hard work for me, so I just watched.
What are you doing now?
Leaving.
Where are you going?
Why does it matter?
I want to know. You're not leaving. You're leaving me. Why?
Because you're spreading lies about me.
No, I'm not.
Your therapist thinks I'm some poor little fucked up orphan.
Yeah, but don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Don't fucking worry about it. He's probably laughing about it now with his golfing buddies.
It's unethical.
He's human. It's in his DNA. Truth is, even without all this shit, we've been drifting apart for a while now.
What? What about what you said last week? And this morning, we had sex.
People can have sex, Martin, without love.
But I love you.
I'm sure you do. In your own twisted way. But the problem is... the problem isn't you loving me. Okay, the problem is... I don't love you.
Since when?
I don't think I ever loved you.
So why did you give me?
Something to do, I guess. Believe what you want, okay? I needed a break from all the losers and you seemed different. But this, us, it's not working.
Those are Erin's words coming out of your mouth.
You dare bring Erin into this. You f***ing gross. Just please.
Sometimes you just have to get into the car and drive. Even if you don't know where you're going, it's endlessly better than where you came from.
I'm not a confrontational person at all, but Alex is like a soldier. She's used to confronting everything with violence. She'd frequently try to coax me into arguments, but they more end up like heated conversations, ways to understand each other, like problem-solving endeavors. No one get hit and nothing would get thrown. Basically, it was just like really loud conversations with a lot of language thrown in.
I guess in a way, I really got a dose of my own medicine, or, you know, maybe it gave me a chance to understand how Erin always felt with this sense of loss or a fear that anything she loved would be just ripped away from her.
My first few nights without Alex felt like my nightmares had come true. I would lie there watching infomercials, just trying to shut my brain down. I'll try and think of something, anything else. Focus on work. My mind was dedicated to Alex.
The more I tried to ignore the pain, the more it hurt. I wasn't moping around, watching soapies, gorging my face with ice cream, like some stupid cliche rom-com. I was eating corn chips and watching B-grade horror movies.
How was work?
I still have no idea where she'd go in her red dress. But she'd come home with her face smeared with makeup and enough money to pay the rent. It was the first real secret we kept from each other. She thought that it could be back to the same as it was before, but it wasn't. And I could tell it was driving her nuts. We were hardly ever in the same room, and when we were, it was hard to know who smelled worse. The days were spilling into each other, so a Wednesday would seem like a Saturday. I'd go to sleep on the couch at sunrise and wake up in the afternoon, and I'd spend the remainder of the day staring at the TV, desperately trying to ignore the torment.
What? When are you going home?
We've been friends for so long. I've been there for you all of the time. I've stood up for you. I've cradled you when you were weak and upset and vulnerable, and I gave you a safe place to express yourself. And I felt like she just took all of that and shut me out, and I was angry. I was furious with her. It wasn't fair. And now I had to face whatever this world was alone.
What are you doing?
Even I didn't know anymore. I was free falling.
Where are the clean towels? Far left cupboard.
You know you're not punishing him by leaving him. You're punishing yourself.
Spent a lot of time in the cold room, but even the dead forced me to think about my girl that I lost.
What a surprise. No one's picking up.
You want him back, don't you? Well, don't you?
I don't know if I want him back.
Bullshit.
Why is that so hard for you to believe?
Because he's the best fucking thing that's happened to you.
Says who?
Are you kidding me? I've seen the way the two of you are together and it's fucking obvious. You're happy with him.
Maybe I don't deserve to be happy.
Everyone deserves to. Not me.
Fucking hell, what was that for?
Oh, you know what that was for.
Erin, you complain about your life every single fucking day, okay?
That's because my life is shit. You never hear me complain about the people who make me happy. I don't regret a single day I spent with Frank. I regret every day without him.
I couldn't help but think about all the times that we'd argued and and all the times we kissed good morning and good night that we'd never share again. He still had the red velvet box in his top drawer, and I couldn't help but look at it every once in a while and wonder about the what ifs. He never got around to asking me. And I never got around to telling him I love him.
And you're seriously considering throwing yours away over a lover's quarrel? Grow up.
Stop focusing on the negatives.
I'm sorry. That's when I knew I was the iron cage stopping this bird from flying free. So I opened the gilded door and gestured for her to leave.
She yelling at you what you take it. Sometimes, but that's life. Are you enjoying the sex? Sometimes. Not always. Not always, no. Often. Rarely. But who enjoys sex 100% of the time? You think maybe she's trying to have a baby? God, no. But no, she knows it's not a possibility, and she has come to terms with that. Are you infertile? No. She had an accident when she was younger, messed up her insides, and now she's unable to get pregnant.
I'm sorry. That doesn't change the fact that she's acting inappropriately.
What are you doing? We'll see.
Fucking elves or something! Who the fuck keeps taking my other sock? They're meant to be to...
What?
Is she here?
Who? The rapist? What?
She told you about that?
Alex tells me everything.
So we must have crossed each other somewhere along the line, but when we're on our way home, that's when we found each other. Well, that's where he found me, I should say. I was focused on driving, but he wasn't driving.
I saw a car speed past the taxi, so I paid the driver to turn around and follow her.
Yeah, it was creepy. And for a few blocks, I thought somebody was following me to abduct me, take me to the house, cut me up into little pieces, get the old Edith Piaf LP out, put a sewing machine suit together with me, wear it, in front of the mirror, and do a couple of twerk moves, and enjoy your night, pretty much.
When we finally managed to pull her over, though,
I got out of the car with a baseball bat.
she really did.
I think you'll fit in nicely here. The lady in the room next to yours came from a bad marriage. She's a bit timid around people she doesn't know. But she is lovely when you get to know her.
No,
You two know each other?
we grew up together.
There were 2 or 3 cliques that hardly interacted. Most of the time, they stayed out of each other's way. They only crossed paths when I was being attacked. So, unfortunately, you could say I was sort of the glue.
It's nice seeing you, Erin.
I wish I could have said the same. I couldn't. And I left her thinking I hated her. She hung herself shortly afterward. Hi, my name is Erin. Where to start? Well, when I was young, I went to live at the Mama Bear home.
There's a feeling like some kind of lonely, with no family as such to call my own. So young, yet so scared of living, not knowing the ones you can trust. Please don't let the sun stop shining. Please don't let the darkness come again. Mama Bear, please hold me in your arms again and protect me from what I don't understand. If they can see the ripples on the river, if they can see the waves upon the ocean, if they can see the clouds high in the heavens, oh, then why can't they see the pain in me? As she looks into the mirror, her reflection, it's just a blur. It's a face she don't recognize. But the liquor from the bottle makes it better. For a moment, takes the pain out of her eyes. If they can see the ripples on the river, and if they can see the waves upon the ocean, if they can see the clouds high in the heavens, oh, then why can't they see